Chapter 1, food, where does it come from? Learning points. In this chapter, you are going to learn about importance of food and nutrition in living thing, types of food and sources of food, food habits of animal, food chain and food web. Food. What is food? Food is a substance which we get from our environment and which is used by our body for energy, for growth, for repair, and to protect from diseases. So all those things that we eat are termed as food. Next is nutrition. It is the process by which we take the food or animals take the food and uses it in the body. So process by which living things take their food and utilize it in their body is known as nutrition. Then we come to the topic of what is present in the food. The things which are present in the food are termed as nutrients. Yes, and these nutrients help us in many ways. The nutrients are categorized under different types, such as carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals. Now let's see how do they help us. This chart will tell you, this table will tell you about how they are helpful to us. Carbohydrates, as you can see, carbohydrates give us energy, and we get carbohydrates from rice, bread, chapatis, potatoes, and banana. There may be other food as well which gives us energy, sugar, right? Next we come to protein. It helps in building our body. It helps in growth. So the proteins we get from pulses, milk product, egg, fish, meat, and so on. It depends upon people what they eat. Fats. Fats are basically, they give us energy. Yes, fats give us energy and also prevents the loss of heat. It forms a layer just below the skin which prevents the loss of heat in our body. We get it from different kinds of oil, butter, ghee, then cheese, nuts, as you can see in this few of the substances or few of the food which gives us fat are listed. The last one is vitamins and minerals. They are meant for protecting our body from diseases. Vitamins and minerals, we get it from fruits and vegetables. All the food items which are mentioned over here contain some different categories of vitamins and minerals in more or less quantity, but we are sure to get it from fruits and vegetables. Minerals remain as it is, but vitamins gets destroyed when we by the cooking process, or if a food is kept for a longer period of time. Suppose a fruit is kept for a longer period of time, then it might lose the vitamins which are present in it, because vitamins tend to get destroyed as time goes by. Even vitamins get destroyed when we cook it. So it's very important that we eat fruits and vegetables as much as we can. Next, this slide is telling us about the healthy eating plate or healthy eating habit. As you can see, the green color of the plate symbolizes vegetables, and the purple one symbolizes fruits. The orange symbolizes protein, and the brown tells us about grains or carbohydrate-rich food. Along with this plate, there has to be good amount of oil and water. I want you to go through, pause this slide, and then go through each categories, how we should be eating it, how much we should be eating it. So I expect this from you. Next time I'm going to ask you regarding each food type that has to be there in your plate. Let's go to the next slide. This slide tells about the variety of food eaten across India. Food habit of people depend on climate, culture, and availability of food resources, which means different regions of India grows different food product. For example, wheat is grown in some areas, rice is grown in some area. So the staple food, the main food which is eaten by a person or people in living in that area, will depend upon what they grow. And what they grow will depend upon the climate prevailing in that part of India, which is why there is so much variety in the food habit of Indians across east to west and north to south. India is a vast country with different climatic condition and culture, and therefore people here have different food habit. This image tells us about the different dishes we have. Next, we come to types of food that we eat regularly. When we look at the food that we eat, it can be divided into raw food and cooked food. Raw food comprises of fruits and certain vegetables. Not all vegetables we eat raw, but some of the vegetables we eat raw. Whereas cooked food, we eat rice, pulses, meat, fish, egg, and vegetables. And there are different varieties which needs to be cooked. Yes, and there are different methods of cooking. Some of the methods are given in the slide: baking and roasting, boiling, stewing, steaming, frying, as you can see in the images. Yes, baking is done in oven, boiling in any, putting it in water and boiling over the stove. Stew, as you can see, dal commonly is a stew. Then steaming, momo, favorite for all. So momos are steamed. And fries, definitely everything that is put in oil and fried over, then it is called frying. And the taste of food differs according to the method of cooking that we use. Next, we are coming to the topic, the sources of food. Yes, from where the food comes. Now, if we look at the broadly, it is plant source and animal source. Plant sources, as you can see in the table: stem, root, leaf, fruit, seed, flower, and bud. Now, this is activity I'm giving you. You are going to find out all those fruits and vegetables that are eaten daily and categorize it under whether it is stem, whether it is root, leaf, fruit, seed, flower, and bud. Right? And I'm going to ask you. Animal sources are meat, fish, egg, milk, and honey. So these are the food items which we get from animals, right? Now let us discuss about the food habits of animals. If we look around us, other animal, not just us, other animals, different animals have different food habit, and accordingly they are classified. So first one is herbivores, then the second one is carnivore, then omnivore, parasite, scavenger. I want you to pause the video and read what is written below each. Even then I'm saying it: herbivore, plant eaters; carnivore, they can be animal eaters; omnivores are both plant and animal eaters; parasites, they live inside or outside the body of an or animal and derive their food. So, and scavengers are animals that feed on leftover food. Yes, they may be dead bodies of plants and animals. They may be eating the dead bodies of plants and animals. Vultures, jackal, hyena, these are examples of scavengers. Let's go to the next slide. Now we are going to discuss about food chain. Food chain is when an organism eats another organism in the environment. Different organism depends on different organisms, different types of organisms. So we are all dependent. We are dependent on plants are dependent on us. If we talk about food, plants are preparing their own food. They need not kill other animals for their food. They are preparing their own food. They are making their own food and storing it in their body in the form of fruit. Yes, all those things that we eat. Now that serves as a food for other animals, herbivores. Herbivores are food for the carnivores. Yes, so in this way, a chain is formed, and that is food chain. So a food chain is a series of organisms where all the organisms are dependent on next organism as a source of food. Now look at the image. The first is maize. Yes, maize, it can be grass also. It's a producer, which means it can make their own food. Then this is a grasshopper. Yes, and it can also be called as locust. This is the primary consumer. Directly they eat the maize plant. The locust or grasshopper is eaten by lizard, and in turn this is the secondary consumer, and the lizard is eaten by a snake, and this is the tertiary consumer. The same thing I have written it down: producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer. Let us look at this. This is food web. Interconnecting food chain is termed as food web. Yes, how the chain is connected to each other, how the food chain, one food chain is connected to the other food chain. That forms a network, and this network is known as food web. See this image? This is plant. The plant is eaten by mouse, rabbit, goat. The mouse is eaten by owl, snake, and the snake in turn is eaten by kite. Here the rabbit eats the green plant. Rabbit is eaten by wildcat and jackal. Wildcat and the jackal can also be food for the lion. Yes, and the goat eats the green plant. In turn, goat is eaten by the jackal or the lion. So this is an example of food web. I hope you have understood till here. In my next video, I'm going to discuss about the NCRT text.